Hi everybody, I'm Mindy Thomas, and this is Career Chat. We air every Monday at 11:30 a.m. and Tuesdays at 8 p.m. As the job search continues for millions of Americans, we have had to take care of ourselves physically, and we have to look at our mental health. Today our topic is mindfulness, meditation, and the job seeker. And before I introduce you to my next guest, I want to give you some statistics that are pretty staggering. There's between 200 and 500 million people that are meditating right now. We found that post-traumatic stress syndrome has been reduced, the symptoms that is, been reduced by 73%. School suspensions in the last 2 years are down by 50%. Insomnia is reduced by 50%. And the most surprising statistic is that 52% of American employers are integrating mindfulness and meditation into their corporate institution. My guest today is Curt Woolford. He is a mindfulness coach and consultant. He has worked with large health organizations in the Philadelphia area, such as Crozier Keystone, Independence Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and the university market as well. He's a mindfulness coach, he's a meditation coach, a yoga instructor, and a consultant to these large organizations. Curt, welcome to Career Chat.
Thank you, Mindy.
It's good to have you here, Curt. I'm really excited. I have a lot of questions for you, and I'm going to kick it off with, what can mindfulness do to help job seekers today?
What can mindfulness do to help job seekers? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is reducing the anxiety that comes with this challenging job market and possibly being unemployed. And these mindfulness techniques, in one sense, are simple, but it's very difficult to get us to do them on a regular basis, and that's when they really have a significant impact. So practicing, informally, throughout the day as we live our lives is one way to practice mindfulness, and the other approach is in the traditional sort of seated, meditation practice as well.
As I understand it, mindfulness is about just being here in the moment, not worrying about the past, not thinking about the future. It's taking advantage of this very moment. So if I'm twirling my pasta and I'm getting ready to eat my pasta, am I going to be mindful of that? And if I am, so what? Make me care about that, Curt.
Yeah, lovely question. And now I'm hungry for a spaghetti lunch. But mindfulness, when we integrate it into our lives, when we're preparing a meal, when we're eating a meal, it's an opportunity to practice in a way that's comfortable and not invasive and not effortful, but just noticing that where is my attention right now? Mm-hmm. Is my attention on preparing this meal? Is my attention on eating this meal, the taste and sensation of food? Or is my mind drifted into the past or the future, which all of our minds so easily do? But it's a bit like training a puppy. So you ask a puppy to sit and stay, and of course it doesn't sit and stay very long. It doesn't quite get it. It gets up and it runs around the room, and you ask it to sit and stay again, and maybe it stays a little bit or not. It gets up and runs around the room. And that's a bit like our minds, especially when we're first practicing. So the mind drifts into the past, it drifts into the future very easily. And this is part of how we're wired, to protect ourselves when there's, threats in the environment. And, the mind can get, very, very triggered and very reactive.
Sure.
With the stressors that's going on in our world right now. So the practice is to find the present moment again. But just come back again and again, just like asking the puppy to sit again and again.
So if I am focusing in that moment, twirling my pasta, that allows what to happen then? I'm not worrying about what's going on out here. I'm just, in fact, worrying is the operative word. I'm just working on this moment, like being right here with you right now and my audience. I'm not thinking about anything else. I don't think the mind can think about two things at once. But does that allow you to relax more when you're focusing in on that moment with mindfulness?
It does. We don't always get, that result when we practice on a regular basis. That sometimes this practice of returning attention to the present moment may lead to a release, sense of release, and letting go and relaxation. Other times it may not. We may not get that felt sense of letting go in the moment. But what's important to note is that when we practice, and the idea is to practice in a way where we're suspending striving. So we're not trying to get anywhere. We're not trying to do anything in particular. We're not trying to make something happen. We're just noticing where attention is, and then in a very gentle way, we're doing our best to anchor it and re-anchor it on what's right in front of us. So it might be making the pasta, it might be eating your food, or it might be just turning your attention towards the breath, because we're always breathing, convenient place to anchor attention. And of course the breath's in the body, and the body moves a bit as we breathe. So it's a very convenient place to anchor attention and capture and perhaps notice the body's natural presence.
Well, I know that you are a mindfulness coach, and I know you do the consulting with large organizations. Can you talk a little bit about the training programs that you help to integrate into the university and healthcare markets?
Yeah, I enjoy that work very much, and I have a background in corporate training and training design, which has helped me a lot as I've brought the two together, mindfulness and corporate. So when I go into organizations or universities, I discuss, what are their most significant challenges or stressors, and then I design a program that's tailored, specifically to their needs. And then workshops, maybe several hours over a couple different days, or it might be one, all day long, workshop integrated with some team building.
Well, what are the challenges? Can you give us examples of what they're facing right now?
Yes, the stress, in the workplace is, it's ramped up from what's going on because people are working, primarily remotely. So that's putting a twist on working from home and the whole virtual world. And what we found with the research with mindfulness is as you practice present moment orientation and you kind of create this and strengthen this muscle of present moment attention and increase your awareness, that increases focus. So you and I can be more productive on the job when we practice mindfulness. And we're all aware that when we're distracted and we're trying to get something done at work, that it takes longer. Our mind's divided. It's constantly going back and forth between past and future and concerns, and rather than fully focusing on what's right in front of us. And it's just fascinating that the more I practice this over the years, and at moments when I'm working in my office and there's 10 things to do or maybe 50 things to do, and when I can fully focus on what's right in front of me, I work so much more efficiently and with less effort. And of course, other times, the 10 things that are on my mind and on my to-do list keep running through me and running their show, so to speak. And not until I focus and use some of these practices do I get more productive.
I've been a big fan of Anthony Robbins for years. I've done the 40-foot firewalk, I've jumped off telephone poles, I've used a lot of physical challenges to get over the mental challenges that I once faced in my life. I remember Tony Robbins always saying, if you don't run your brain's going to run you. And it seems like this mindfulness is a pathway to help us detach from the brain a little bit and get a hold of ourselves and get grounded in that moment. I know that meditation is just another art. Can you talk to us about meditation and then the benefits of doing yoga?
Sure. So the benefits of meditation are considerable. And just to clarify that, for some of us, we're new to meditation. We actually haven't experienced it, or maybe we have just for a moment. But meditation is not about becoming a good meditator. Meditation is about improving the way we show up for our lives and ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that when I sit and when I meditate, I typically practice in the mindfulness tradition. The yoga tradition is a little different. But when we practice mindfulness, and we call this formal practice, when we sit and meditate, we typically anchor attention on sensation of breath. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the mind's going to wander. And sometimes it wanders a lot, sometimes not as much. But we're not concerned about that. We don't resist it. We don't judge the wandering mind. We just kind of watch it. We grow this awareness. The mind wanders, and then we just bring it back into the sensation of breath again and again. Just like I mentioned with the puppy. We're asking the puppy when to sit and stay. It doesn't. It gets up and runs around. Sit and stay. Same thing with the mind. We love the puppy. We love our mind. It's doing what the mind does. But strengthening our ability to be present has so many benefits. Certainly at work with increased focus. But if you think about anxiety, it's future oriented. And all of our minds run anxiety. So that when we bring attention back to the present moment, each time we practice that return, we train the mind to be just a bit more present moment focused. This actually changes brain structure. This whole realm of neuroplasticity is fascinating. And the research is conclusive. So the structure of your brain, the structure of my brain, anyone practicing mindfulness, brain structure literally changes little by little as we practice. So the part of the brain responsible for present moment orientation gets a little bigger. And the part of the brain responsible for anxiety gets a little smaller. And it gets much more complicated than that, but that's an example of something that literally happens when we practice.
Well, Curt, there's a lot of folks out there that are saying, no way, I can't meditate, because they can't break away. And the fact is, what I found is using an app is very helpful. And what's interesting is that you can define the number of minutes that you can meditate, starting with a 2-minute app, not an app, but a 2-minute meditation sequence, all the way up to maybe more than 60 minutes if you choose. That's very helpful, I think, because you can start out small and then build as you build your sustenance or your ability to the muscle. We were talking about the muscle. But we have to take a short break right now. So we'll be back in just 2 minutes with a message from our sponsors right now, and then we will jump back on those meditation apps and how they can help you improve your lives. We'll be right back.
Partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
belly to sleep on.
A big house.
How do I look? Do I look good?
I want to play hard.
My nails done once a month.
I want.
I want.
I want a home.
I just want a home. I want someone to love.
Last year, more than 30,000 companion animals came to us without homes. 20,000 of them were felines. Let's make some homes together.
Hello everyone, I'm Mark Iorio. I'm the host of Rainmakers Roundup right here on RVN TV. The show is about looking for people who are in competitive businesses that are doing something different and unique in the world of sales and marketing. Join me right here on Rainmakers Roundup on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. and then again on Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. right here on RVN TV.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacqueline. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacqueline.com to book an appointment today.
Hi everybody and welcome back to Career Chat. I am with Curt Woolford of CurtWoolford.com. He is a mindfulness coach. He is also a consultant to large healthcare organizations and the university market in mindfulness training. Curt, we were talking about meditation apps. I heard this morning that Headspace is offering a year-long free subscription to anyone who's furloughed or laid off, which is fantastic. They really believe that they want to support the American unemployed right now. I was discussing with you over the break that people, sometimes they just push back on this meditation, and I wanted to jump back into the discussion about how you can set up the meditation training, guided, if you will. And look, if you don't like their voice, just delete, just go to the next person. Because there are some folks that have such a wonderful tone. The music's beautiful. They walk you through that meditation. You shut your eyes, you sit back, you do the breathing. And listen, in 5 minutes, you can feel better. It's amazing. I think everyone should try that. What do you think, Curt?
I agree. Headspace is very well done, very well organized. It's a great way to maybe start a mindfulness practice, to sustain a practice, a way to get curious about what mindfulness can do for you. And I've had many students that work with me in mindfulness-based stress reduction programs, that was their introduction to mindfulness. And they got curious enough, and they could start to see the benefits that they found their way to me to study in the 8-week mindfulness-based stress reduction program. And I think that apps are fabulous.
Fantastic.
And very helpful. I would recommend that anyone that's diving into mindfulness with an app at some point seek out live instruction, because it will take your practice to a much deeper level.
And getting back to the uncertainty, everything that's going on in the world right now, if you can find some peace in just 5 minutes, 10 minutes to help you get yourself out of the funk, because it's hard. It's so easy to go into the rabbit hole and go dark. And what I found is that my clients are using these apps, and their insomnia, it's being reduced. They're feeling greater satisfaction and more positivity in their life. And God only knows. We need that right now, especially in the middle of a job search. But how are you going to go out there if you're feeling depressed and anxious and stressed out? In this job market, you need your mojo going. So, yeah. Curt, a lot of people say, I can't do yoga. That's our third topic today. You're a fantastic yoga instructor. As you know, I'm there every week. Curt's amazing. He has a way of delivering the practice and getting you into a space and into a mindset that relieves the tension and the stress. So I know you've been doing yoga for many, many years. Let's talk about the benefits of yet another alternative tool that we can use to improve our stress levels.
Yoga, as mindfulness has become very important to me in my personal and professional life, I see yoga as meditation in motion. And of course, in the yoga tradition, all the postures were developed so that your body could be flexible and strong, so that you could sit in a meditative posture for long, long periods of time. So the yoga tradition, a little different than mindfulness. It actually comes first, and mindfulness is born out of the yoga tradition. But it's all about increasing awareness. And of course, as you're moving the body in yoga, you get more body awareness, and you also get more groundedness in your body's natural presence. And of course, when you practice yoga, your mind can wander. So it's the same thing. It's another way to practice mindfulness. So where is my attention? Is it on my breath? Is it in this particular posture? Or, is it towards the end of the class, so I'm already out the door? So it's very interesting to watch the mind wandering. And again, this is absolutely natural. Everybody's brain does this, but we can develop the skill to be more present moments oriented, which reduces anxiety and increases the quality of sleep.
Well, it seems like it always comes back to the breath, Curt, right?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
It always comes back to the breath. In mindfulness, in the yoga, in the meditation, we're always going back to the breath. And sometimes we can feel that we're not really breathing all the way down. We're up here into our chest. Why is the breath so important?
The breath is very important because big picture is it sustains life. In mindfulness, as I mentioned, we're always breathing, and we're anchoring attention in the body's natural presence. In the yoga tradition, there's different ways to breathe, and in the modern approach and research around breath, it's about stimulating the relaxation response. And this is something that's actually really easy to do. And I've been encouraging all my students and friends and myself to do these slow exhales, frequently throughout the day. And it's very simple. So all you do is you count to 2 on the inhale, you count to 4 on the exhale. You want the exhale to be about twice the duration of the inhale. And you can exhale through the nose, or you can exhale through the mouth, making a little sound like a sigh. But you can experiment with this on your own. It might take a couple minutes to feel a shift in your body if you're holding some tension. It might take even longer to notice a shift mentally and emotionally. But if you practice these slow exhales long enough, maybe 5 minutes, and of course if you get lightheaded or out of breath, just breathe normally. But as you find your way with these slow exhales, you will feel significantly more relaxed. And what shows up in the body in terms of relaxation shows up in the thinking mind and the emotional mind.
That's
so
an
here's
important.
the beauty of yoga.
That's an important.
You relax
point.
the body, you relax the mind. So you can come through any one of those doors and get benefit.
That's an important point. Can you please repeat that last statement? What shows up in the mind shows up in the body, and what shows up in the body shows up in the mind?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's all connected.
Oh, okay.
And in the mindfulness world, we call this the triangle of awareness. So if you picture a triangle, and at the top you have thoughts or the thinking mind, and at the bottom right-hand corner you have feelings or the emotional mind, and at the left bottom of the triangle you have sensations in the body. So in any given moment, all three are going on, but one usually takes the lead. So if you just stub your toe, for example, your body's taking the lead, but then I guarantee that your thinking mind and your emotional mind is going to have something to say. And it's the same thing when we're dealing with the stressors in our life now, with employment issues and unemployment and working from home. And it's all these changes show up in the thinking mind, they show up in the feeling mind, they show up in the body. So if you scan this, you can say, I'm feeling tension in my body. And then maybe you turn towards some of these relaxing breaths that are slower on the exhale. Or you notice your thinking mind is very active towards concern or anxiety towards the future. The breath work can help there too. Or starting to practice mindfulness with an app, for example, or experimenting with a bit of yoga to get some tension out of the body and also turn attention towards the breath. And all this affects the emotional mind as well.
Well, it really seems kind of complex, but then it doesn't. And, it's interesting as you were walking through the visual as well as the steps in breathing, I started to do the breathing and I was feeling myself more relaxed and wondering how was I even breathing from the beginning of the show, because it's a very different sensation to take that breath in and to exhale. Now, I know that you've been booked heavily with clients, but you've now opened up, the space has opened up for new clients. How can people reach you? I know you do national work as well as local Philadelphia and the tri-state area. How can people reach you if they're interested in working with you on mindfulness, yoga, or meditation?
Yeah, and simply go to my website, which is just my name, CurtWoolford.com, and my email address is Curt@CurtWoolford.com, and I'd be happy to chat with you if you're curious about these practices. And I love working with groups, large groups, small groups. I love working with individuals to improve their mindfulness practice and the integration of it into their lives personally and professionally.
Wonderful.
So mindfulness is a practice where there's always another stone to be unturned. We can always go deeper with the practice. There's lots of different techniques, and there's ways to apply it in our lives that may not seem obvious out of the gate when we're really stressed and when we're really stuck. And that's where it's helpful to have someone that can be objective, and not only as a coach, but as a mindfulness expert as well.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I'm counting on going deeper on my meditation practice, Curt. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you for your time. And you are quite welcome. To my audience, I wish you a safe and happy week. If you have any questions about my program, you can reach me at thomascareerconsulting.com. Remember, your career is your business, and we need to run it like we're a CEO. Have a great week. See you here next week at Career Chat.